Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Lori.
Morning.
How was your weekend?
Well, since Kansas City won, I had a good weekend.
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting game.
Yeah, second half was anyway.
Do we have a echo this morning?
Not here. But it was the Eagles. Kansas City and the Eagles. 38-35. Really amazing game. Yeah, we are just out of the dark zone. I don't see why I'm bouncing off a stack myself, but I only see a mini magnet and a paw. That's not a stack. Stack is 3 levels. It depends on which stack definition you're talking about. There's actually 2. Gosh, it's been so long since I did that training, I don't even remember the exact. We had said 3 was a stack. What purpose it was? That a 933.11 on YM, that's still in the dark zone, so that was a no-go. I don't remember what it was in. I think, no, I don't know. It's been a while. Seems like one of them was in the one before Thrive, but I don't know for sure. 935 on R. That was pretty. Is almost to settlement. No, the volume scores do not work like delta. RTY. That was a beautiful ODD. No, you need a TX to go with the ODD. It doesn't have to be an ETX. Maybe it's Nikita. Talking about, I think Jack's talking about 936.16 on RTY. There we go. Yep. I missed that YM too. I was looking at RTY. Probably not a TBS I'd want to take on YM. If you look at the 30 tick, we're at a higher area and it's trying to go higher. Not a TBS I'd want to take. Marks on RTY setting up. Or if it holds everything, 1925.9.
Order filled. Order filled.
Go, got it. Yeah, it's best not to try NQ if you're a newbie right now. It's just not cooperating real well.
Order filled.
For a DTX Lorex setting up right here on RTY. It's trying to on YM. That would make it even better. Just saying, that's what I'm kind of watching for. Hoping. Starting to set up, but it's not there yet. Tick above, we've got ODD. Oh, it's not looking good. Cooperate. D, we got nothing. Were the alligator eyes at 1925.8 on that RTY, not enough of an obstruction. 19. Because it was a really strong Lorex. They would have been an issue if it would have been just a normal TX or, just a normal sniper entry, but a Lorex has a lot more confirms, and that's what it was. So it can handle a couple obstructions. I'm missing questions. I apologize. I'm really trying to focus on the charts because I was really hoping for a setup in that area, but RTY is about to go into an area with a lot of spread out mini magnets and order prints. So if it goes into this area above, right above here, it's likely gonna be some choppy. Oh, YM is setting up for right off a nope, it's not going ZOI there. Not gonna do it. ZOI crash. intrabar scalps, but they were too fast to call or catch. As promised, RTY just entered that choppy area. I mean, that area with a lot of mini magnets, and it's chopping. And we knew it would before it hit there. I want a cluster in the intrabar scalp, yes. I would, man, that's a iffy elevator in my opinion. Yes, maybe. I mean, if you look at the trend up before that was pretty fast and decisive, not many wicks. Only one bar had a wick, so to assume it was going to keep going in the same direction up into the chop box, yeah, maybe. I wouldn't touch it myself, but you take profit before you hit the chop box, so chop box is right, starts at 1931.0. Where that first mini magnet is, that is in the mini magnet of many. In fact, we're in this chop. I'm going to go start some tea real quick. Be right back.
Order filled.
That Lorex on YM was going right into the, well, it was right at the end of that deviation, but also there's mini magnets. How many are there? There's 2 mini magnets, a ZOI, a mini magnet right below, and we know we're in a chop zone. So personally, I wouldn't want to be in that, because if it does take profit, it's probably going to take a while. And there's a good chance it'll chop down to get profit, but yeah, yuck. Not my thing. Our scalp, huh? Why keeps freezing? How many days loaded do you have? That might have something to do with it. If you have a NQ chart, take it down. That's going to help give you more processing power for your RTY.
Order filled.
Like it probably won, but at YM, I mean, it was a pretty Lorex. It had everything. I don't like where the mini mag or where the cluster was. It was just kind of out there floating. I wanted to be tethered to something, and it wasn't. So it's not one I would have taken or called. Days do I have loaded on my 30 tick? Oh gosh, I don't know. I have 17, but I have a really powerful computer. I want as much information as I can get. I want to go back
Order
and
filled.
give me mini magnets and ZOI, so I want a lot, but if my computer couldn't handle it, I would only put on a few. The 30 tick is a big hog of usage, power, whatever, because of all of its stuff that it's got to carry through and calculate onto the 10 tick. RTY doesn't seem to want to stay in this chop zone. I mean, it keeps hitting it went up there and it's like, ouch, it got out, didn't like it. And then it keeps on testing it. So kind of creating a chop zone right underneath the chop zone, which is kind of typical. You only have 3 days loaded. It may explain why the existing mini magnets are not showing. Exactly. And don't worry about it. If if you're doing what your computer can handle, you need that to happen above all else. But yeah, that would be why you're not seeing the mini magnets. So don't sweat it. They are showing, well, I have them on the 30 and the 10. They're from about 1931 up to about 1934 in RTY. In 1934, there's almost a ZOI crash on RTY. They're spread out just a little bit. It's not an exact crash, but it's still an area that's going to be pulled up to, most likely. Everything's kind of a mess. Of course, NQ has wider chop, but it's still a choppy mess. And YM and RTY have really tight, ugly chop. But what's one thing we know about the market? It's going to change. Jordan, yes, to your question. PM is the same for YM, RTY, and NQ. A lot of news. I haven't even looked ahead. That may be why it's slow and not a lot happening today then. It's just, it knows tomorrow's a big day, so it's just kind of doing its thing. Makes sense. Thank you for that, Denali. Only a day to test patience. Wow.
I think it's both testing your patience and your internet connection at the same time.
I have 4 disconnects, so I'm doing good so far.
Wait, you said you had 4?
Yeah.
And that's good?
It's lower than it used to be.
When it disconnects, how long does it usually take for it to come back for you?
A second, or it can be 2 or 3, it can be 30, it can be a minute.
Wow.
I'm guessing these were just a second or 2 because I wasn't disconnected from the ER. So.
Man, that's got to be nerve-wracking.
Tell me about it. It's why I am so picky on what I take, because I don't want to get stuck in a wishy-washy setup and my internet goes out. I want it to highly likely be going to continue so that by the time I call it in, it's still going in my direction.
Well, the RTY Lorex at 951, whatever it was, 951 something, that was a 2-minute 50-second trade. And then the YM at 10:09 something was 4 minutes and 35 seconds. So I don't think you would have liked either one of those.
I don't want to be doing something stupid when my internet goes out, because that'll hurt. Oh, NQ is gorgeous right there. Too late to get, well. I hit 1. We're able to get in on the retrace just that fast. That an okay setup for what? You're just showing a single bar with no setup at all. What you're trying to show us, Tom? No. No, that was not a good intrabar scalp. Pony 9 was nice, but it had a 1 on the other side, and that's just, it's just in a choppy area. It's just not good. It's got to be big numbers to worthy of actually taking an IBS right now.
Hey, Lori, if you start seeing people posting OP charts and asking about setups, there's a very good possibility they're referring to interbar scalps. And that's kind of my fault, I guess, because I trade the interbar scalp off of the OP chart, which, by the way, there's a potential, never mind, it's gone on RTY, but...
I was watching that. Yeah, I agree. I just...
So I'm just letting you know that people that kind of copied what I was doing, so they're starting to trade the intrabar scalp off of the OP chart. So,
I mean, that's a smart thing to do. And we can't see if it was a good intrabar scalp unless you have that OP chart screenshot. So I just wasn't I looked at that and I was like, wait, what?
yeah.
Once you said intrabar scalp, I'm like, oh yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Duh.
Yeah. So once you start seeing OP charts being posted, that's probably 99.9% they're referring to intrabar scalps.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I'm just looking out for my peeps.
I love it. I just wasn't thinking. I was like, wait, what is that? I just did one bar. That makes so much sense. And YM is like it had like an intrabar on both sides, except the 32 is just a 1 on the other side. I don't like it when it's just 1 as well. That 1 doesn't. It's just not as nice. I mean, look below it. It's 12 and 16, 12 and 33. I mean, the 1 just is like, okay, finish its business on that side. Let's do something different now.
Oh no, Jeff, trust me, Lori was all behind Power Hour. It was her idea. Exactly, it was her idea.
Yeah, I love it.
She pushed me to do it.
I would not be hating on the Power Hour. No. It's not a good time for me, so I'm not going to be there most of the time. And I can't sit in those trades that long.
Yeah, no, she absolutely pushed me. If I was able to put in the time, then she thought it would be a huge benefit for everyone. So.
We'll find that we're 99.9% on the same page. I just didn't think about the scalp when you put that chart up. So yeah. Oh, that keeps placing at 6 to 10. Huh.
Yeah, that was interesting. We were trying to go through that and trying to recreate that when we did the podcast on that last week on the order keys that we did, and yeah, just some people are having that issue, which was kind of very interesting. Couldn't figure out why.
YM intrabar possibly going up.
Maybe. I don't know. I'd be careful, Lori. I'd be careful.
Yeah, I agree. It's just in that really choppy area.
Yeah, Antonio, the numbers are, I mean, I'm just not crazy about it. And now that it closed down, I'm really not crazy about it. probably will win. 50, I think, was the target. Yep, there it goes. But still, just wasn't crazy about it.
Got it, but whoa, that was something else.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, if it was going to go down below the cluster, isolate for a little bit, then I might go in and pick it up. But I was watching NQ, and it didn't give me any solid indication that it was going to go up and away. So there's another opportunity now if we have a cluster again to go long on YM and Truby 41. Yeah, this one's actually better. If RTY drops a cluster, that might be a good one too. That's a good point, Greg. Are you guys using wireless mice by any chance versus wired?
Order submitted. Order canceled.
Intra-bar scalps rely on oscillation within a bar. So if they're setting up, if there's a wall between you and the profit, well, it has just oscillated around that wall. So it shouldn't be a big deal. Not saying it won't be, but that's why you look at the conditions. You've got to have all the right conditions for it. Pascal, you took that trade as an FTX, but you had a huge obstacle that it ran into. You have to make sure you're clear before you take profit. The ones I call don't always require that, but I'm calling more advanced trades that are well confirmed, and FTX is just a plain trade that you have to look out for obstacles. So I hope that helps. Yeah, you should not have taken that, as there's a huge obstacle there. A stack above you before you would take profit. hear the dog snoring on my desk, but yeah, it's definitely the dog. It's almost a burger on RTY. Not quite, because it's got a little space in between there. But it's definitely a stack. I mean, it's got, if you look back, it's got mini magnets where a cluster that were, and then they were broken. I mean, before that, there's another mini magnet and paw that were broken, mini magnet on the 30 tick. So there's definitely something at that, just under that 0.25 deviation. Lots of levels continually popping up there. They're not all at the exact same level, so it's a little bit of a zone. But yeah, that's really important. It's going to come back at some point and be a big deal.
Order submitted. Order canceled. Order. Order canceled. Order filled.
Yeah, that was a lane two, if that even, because it didn't have a cluster for a Lorex on the RTY, so that would have just, I don't know, if there was a lane two for a Lorex, that'd be it. It's just an ugly area. I without absolutely everything being perfect, I wouldn't touch it. It has absorption. It has no cluster. It has a cluster on the bar before, but even that, I don't care. I don't like it. Nope, not. It's just in the middle of nowhere. I don't like it. Top of a second chop box, the top of the chop area, but then that ZOI is really close to the half deviation, so you got something pulling it down, you got something pulling it up. I don't like it. It's just not decided. She should have said that when it formed, but extremely important today. It is just ugly out there on those charts. But if we got a lot of news coming this week, that explains it. It's just kind of hanging out in ugly land. Options expiration week. Oh, great. No, the conditions will change, so have patience. And the RTY is looking kind of good for a intra bar, but not best. And it closed down anyway, so yeah. Reload your template. I don't know how to say your name, Donatas. Reload the template. That's all you got to do.
Hey, Lori,
Yeah,
did you take that intrabar scalp on RTY?
yeah.
Yeah. Looks like I think it's going to win.
I just hope it doesn't go way up before it goes down.
No, I think what's going to happen is NQ is going to test this rose wall again, and then it's going to bounce down, and it'll drive this thing down with it. It's kind of what it looks like. And you just also got a Lorex going short too, so it should help a little bit.
So good, because I was like holding my breath there.
I told you it was going to go to that rose wall, test it, and bounce, and it's kind of what it's doing. I'm hoping it's just going to push down more.
Trades is killing me.
That's funny. I don't mean to laugh at your expense, Lori. It's just kind of...
That's okay. Rose wall's not on your NQ chart. It should be if you've got the walls on. If you used a template, it should be. Not the best. It may test up there yet on RTY. I do not know how you do this in Power Hour.
It's,
For this long.
you kind of know your expectations. So, oh man, there's one on YM going long. I would hate to take this and go against you, but I don't know.
No, YM. Yeah.
Hmm?
YM did not get me in.
Not yet.
No, it's still okay. It went up. It added instead of
Yeah, I didn't take it out.
Order submitted.
YM going one direction, in with RTY going the other.
Order filled.
Did you get in that YM?
Why? I don't know, because it's going to take a long time to.
It's okay. As long as your internet stays connection, you'll be fine. Because what will end up happening is, come on, one tick to YM. Oh, man. That was one tick away from profit. Okay, so
Order
I'm out
filled.
on the YM. I'm out on the YM.
I'm out on the YM too. It got me out. Yay, double profit there. Double to go. Yay.
But unfortunately, I think your RTY is going to go south here.
Well, it's a if I,
What was your entry? Your entry was, what, 36.8? 36.9?
yeah.
Yeah, if it gets back to the cluster, I probably would get out.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to do before I got into YM, but I then kind of like, it's hard to watch both of them.
Because it's really, I mean, NQ is really pushing that rose wall, and I think it's going to break through it. And if it does, then this scalp is going to be dead. Just got into another Lorex on NQ short. Yeah, I would probably bail out of that, Lori. I don't know.
Got out with a minus 20.
What's that?
I got out with a minus 20.
Oh, good.
I don't know how it did it. It must have slipped or something, but
It's better than a minus 200.
yeah. Intrabar scalp still so wonky? Yeah, I'm not loving this day. YM covered it. That is why I did not call the RTY before I got in. I was not loving it, but I thought, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Yeah.
He'll probably still win.
Vision. Yeah, it probably will since I got out. Of course it will. But yeah, I had enough. Like a lot. RTY, not so much.
Yeah, that intrabar scalp put me over the top, so I'm done for the day. I will do power hour today, but I will not be taking any live trades.
DTX, Lorex, and RTY, I don't see it. See the DTX, but there's no Lorex on the second one. In a choppy area, I gotta say I don't like it. Clusters would definitely be an obstruction for yes. Should you not take interbar scalp if you're in 2 to 3 bar chop? What are the numbers? It's the setup of the actual intrabar of the bar that is, if it's huge in your face, 2 to 3 bar chop isn't a really big deal because it's probably going to chop back to it. But it also can be, if it's had enough chop, it could also be a breakout. I mean, you got to look at the setup more than anything else. Look at the setup. It needs to be in your face huge, because we've seen today where they've been pretty good, but they have been horrible to work. I mean, not horrible. They worked out, but not before a lot of sweating and hair pulling. Definitely look at your setup. You want the best of the best when it's in a choppy area, when we're slow, when we're just Grant, it looks like a DTX with ODD too. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm not going to touch it, but because the profit would be, you look left and you see that ZOI with the mini magnet that stopped and then started again and has two clusters on the ZOI, and before it went up and over that ZOI and chopped, it had one cluster on it. I see that as an obstruction. I wouldn't touch it. That was pretty on NQ with the pink wall pulling it up. You know, if you go into the NT8 room, that is the best place to get support for that technical kind of stuff. Yeah, like CJ just said too. crash. I would prefer it had a TX on the reversal bar. I mean, it definitely is an SLZ with a crash. That alone is really good, but yeah, I'm not gonna risk it myself. I want to see a little more involved Lorex there myself, but kind of almost sort of too. Yeah, that a good term, the way to put it. Okay, it's in a really choppy area. If you look left, you'll see just tons and tons of mini magnets. Before that run up at about 10:20 on RTY. That run up at about 10:20, and it's kind of a straight-ish run up. It's not straight, but straightest we've seen this morning. So if you look left of that, you'll see all those mini magnets spread out at different parts of the run. Okay, so that means chop a little bit of going through and then chop again. So anything in this area, and before we go there, it broke through and it did not clean it up. That is the biggest hint you've got not to take RTY back into this area, because as it was going up, it still left a ton more mini magnets spread out. That is huge. It's a huge sign telling you it's still going to chop when it comes down in this area. So it did it in the lower part between about 1930.9 and 1933.5. You see where you got all those mini magnets spread out on its trip up? That means it's not done chopping. It started all those mini magnets. I mean, it broke all those mini magnets on its way up, but then it left more, saying, yep, this is still going to be choppy. So then it kept going up. We had a little bit of a clean trend until it got to those mini magnets again, the upper ones, the spread out. And it bounced around, and as it's bouncing around, it's still leaving pause, mini magnets, lots of clusters. But the thing is, everything is spread out. It's not leaving a nice, clean stack. It's leaving a chop zone. That means, for me personally, I don't like it. It's that where it was setting up that ZOI, it was in the middle of the upper chop area, and just, ew. I don't trust it to turn around, because down below it's choppy. Up above, at least it's clearing out up above. It didn't leave any more mini magnets and pause until 1938.9. So you had a little clear sailing through there, which it did. Now you've got spread out ZOI, mini magnet, pause. They're all spread out again. So you expect some chop in here. Does that kind of tell you why I didn't like that? I mean, I had to look at it a minute to figure out why it was I didn't like it, but I did not like it. And that's kind of, and that's why. You look at all those spread out mini magnets, and the fact that it keeps laying them as it clears them out, it's laying more. And they're spread out. It's just ugly town. I mean, it's totally ugly town. I personally, yeah, not going to touch it. I would much rather live to trade a better day, because this isn't it. IM is just a little bit cleaner, but it's not laying nearly so much. It's got it more together. It's got a stack at 34,200. Got another little stack at about 34,194. Below that, it's got a lot of spread out. Above that, not so much. So that kind of tells me once you get out of that choppy area, you've got some room to run. And it may run going up, but I guess we had no, we did not have a setup to go up that way. I mean, you did way down at the lower part, but yeah, I hear you, Bear. Just a minute. You had your setup there at 11:36:41. But at that point, you're still in a lot of chop area. I personally didn't like that either. So, but you did have clear sailing until it got up to the mini magnets at 34,193-ish. So that helps explain what it is I don't love about it. And we are in JFT territory, so if you watch for those, yeah, kind of watch. We're way low, but we're at a higher price point. So, possible. We're in the area. Yeah, it should spread out order prints should scare you. Exactly right, because it's warning of chop, and chop, we know things just don't work like we want them to. Once a wall is broken, can I take a trade that goes through a wall? Oh, not a wall. A wall that is cyan or pink, or a wall itself is going to last for nearly forever. When it's in that price area, you always beware of a wall. But do watch how the price previously treated it. For example, YM. There is a wall at 34,180, and at about 1049, 1050-ish, it went up. This is YM. It went up. It went through the wall, came back down, went up through the wall, came back down through the wall. That wall became an axis of chop. It's like a gymnast flipping around the pole, the bar. Okay, so 34,180, the wall there was the bar that the gymnast was flipping around. Do you see how that worked? So it's pretty much at that moment, and only at that moment, you can pretty much expect it's probably going to go through the wall. But it's in such chop, you really don't know how far, and you don't know when it's going to stop going through the wall. So when it got back up there on YM at 1143.16, and it had the stack at 34,193 for the price, there was a really good chance that it was going to go through that wall again and go up to that price level. Now, when it gets there, who knows what it's going to do, but there's a high chance it's going to at least get to that price level. Not that we have any setups or anything that we had no reason to be in a trade at that moment, but I'm just saying that's how you read the walls. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of, I don't know, it's just a learned thing, but that is what I would expect out of YM. It's going to bounce and use it as a, now coming back down on YM, I would expect it's going to have a little bit of a fit here at this 34,194 level because it's a pretty big stack. It could go through it or it could test it and bounce off it. At this point, we really don't know because the last time it zipped through it. So now what's it going to do? We really don't know, but I would expect a test and a bounce up before I would expect anything else. But just because that's what I would expect doesn't mean that's what it's going to do. So if it would set up a Lorex here going long, I would love that because it's really, coming off that huge stack. So I hope that helps some on trying to figure out what's important and what's not. I know there's a lot of levels, there's a lot of lines, and you're probably looking at it going, oh my gosh, how the heck? But after a while, it does become clear. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know, I think of it, I remember when I first, what was that, way back in second grade, third grade, I don't even know what year it was, but when you're learning cursive in school, you first look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, that's just scribbling. Well, then one by one, you learn to read it, and then pretty soon you can read everything, It's just little by little you learn to read it, and it has a story. It tells a story. So the Lorex at YM, 1136, let me look. That valid. It have a TX on the 30 at that point, and it does not have an OPR or absorption X, so I would have to say no, it's not the best Lorex. And it's coming off a spread out, it's like right in between a stack and spread out order prints because it's a little bit far away. Those walls are a little bit far away from each other to be a stack. It's constantly in there putting more and more and more in a really tight area. So it's really tight chop. It might be a good kind of like a tight rubber band to bounce from. You don't like those real weak ones. So I wouldn't have touched it myself. I mean, obviously it went and did great, but yeah, not my favorite. Was it valid? It doesn't show up on mine as a full Lorex, and I'm not taking anything else. The triangle pointing up, what's that? I don't see a green triangle pointing up. Guessing that is a OPR, but I'm not sure, I'm not positive what you're asking, so I don't see a green triangle pointing up. Zone of interest can be hard to cross, but it's exactly what it is. It's a green, I'm reading the, it's a zone, not a line, not a one level like a mini magnet, but it's a zone of things that, and then especially like YM, for example. Let's just look at that zone of interest, 34,199-ish, 34,200-ish. That's ZOI in that area. It laid a ZOI. The next bar, chopped around, laid a cluster, then a bar went up, and then it came right back down onto the ZOI, laid another cluster and a mini magnet, and okay, Barb, can you go across something else? And it laid, it's letting you know, wow, this is big. This is a big level, and it's right above the previous mini magnet on the left, several mini magnets, and Paul, go somewhere else. And so and then it also on its last trip past that, it lays a red eye block. So it's acknowledging that level. It's an important level. What the market wants to do with it, we really don't know, but we do know it's a big level, and it's going to trip you up, or at least, it may not trip you up, but it's going to at least slow things down, most likely, when it gets around it. If it's a TA, I have no idea. I don't use it, so I can't answer that. Somebody else can. Did I kind of help just understand how to read some of this order prints, or am I just jabbering and not making any sense? And I explain a lot of that in Thrive, but real time, I know it really, really helps if you can see this stuff real time. And it's sometimes, it's hard to see the big picture. I mean, I get that. It's really hard to see the big picture, except right now everything's just kind of standing still, so it's easy to look back and say, well, this is this and this is this. I mean, but that's how you get started reading it. You look at how it reacted around these things. So this wall that YM is at right now, 34,180, it has never, in this area, okay, now tomorrow it might respect it to the T, but right now it is laying clusters on it, but the price is not exactly, when I say exactly, I mean stopping on a dime. It's not doing that with it, so you can't expect it to stop exactly, but it is laying clusters exactly on that level, so that level is still important. Whatever started it, we don't know. It's not really important what started it. But we do know it didn't now, at this moment, it could have been a wall that's been in there since, I don't know, it could be for months. Who knows? But it's laying clusters on that level, so that's letting us know this is an important level. It's marking it still as a level and acknowledging that wall there. So it's pretty big deal. But do you expect a reversal to stop on a dime on that level right here and now today? Doesn't look like it's going to happen. So that's just a little helpful tip on walls. We know are areas of, the market is respecting them, or it's at least drawn to them, whatever. It may go through them, but like, look at your chop. It's the axis of chop. It's the middle. It is the main attraction there. It's not stopping the chop, but it is the dead center of chop, and it's going around it. The full Lorex at 1150 is just a TX.
Hey, Lori, can I add something while you're looking at that chart real quick? So just to kind of set a level of expectation for everybody, don't claim to be the smartest guy or the sharpest tool in the shed or fill in whatever blank you want. And it took me a good 2 to 3 months to kind of grasp the concept of what Lori was just talking about right now. So if you don't get it right away, it's okay, and just keep at it. and just keep looking at it. Eventually, when you look at it, and if you look at it long enough, and you keep looking at different, scenarios as they show up along the way, then you'll be able to put all the pieces together, and then all of a sudden one day you're just going to wake up and it's just all going to make sense. Um, the hardest part is not letting yourself get frustrated along the way. It's like, try to force yourself to get it, because it will come eventually. I mean, I can tell you that's what happened to me, and which is how I was actually able to accept the intrabar scalp, because of being able to read the order prints.
Thank you. That's exactly right. Even when seeing some of this, like when we first got order prints, even before we first got order prints, walls came in. Some of the walls came in before order prints, and it was just, I was seeing something. I was seeing the price hit a lot of times. I can't even explain what I saw, but I started seeing places that the price was drawn to, and why I couldn't even tell you. Order prints made it a whole lot easier to be able to see it, but when I first started looking at that, I was like, well, there's something here, but I couldn't decide what. I could not figure out what I was seeing. I just knew there was something, but it's like, yeah, there's, it frustrated the tar out of me, I'm telling you. So I get it. It's frustrating. It is, don't just lower your expectations for understanding it and ask questions. And as we continue to try to explain what we see, it will eventually just float to the top and you'll get it. The full Lorex, and okay, I don't have, yes, I do have a full Lorex there. It's going into a ZOI, but a Lorex going into a ZOI is not as big of a deal. I would have expected the next ZOI, if anything's going to stop that Lorex at 1150, it's going to be that second ZOI, which it did not stop it. It just kept plowing through, okay. But I would have expected that second one, if anything's going to stop it, that one would have, because it's got a lot of clusters on it and a mini magnet on it, and then as it's going down, it has a eye block on it. I mean, that's huge. That's a big level. So if anything's going to stop it, I'm thinking that's going to. So I would kind of look at that Lorex and go, yeah, it's probably going to skip the first one because it's a plane. It's just, there's nothing else there backing it up. But you got a whole bunch of a fortress there at the 34,200 level. You got a lot of stuff going on there. So I would have expected that. Now, it didn't. It doesn't always do what we think it's going to do. But if it was going to stop, and you could have got your profit before that, so it would have been, I personally didn't take it. I didn't like it. And I missed out on a good one, but I don't care. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere to me, and I don't like those. So magnet on the Tentic, it had a paw. So you don't need a mini magnet and a paw. You need one or the other.
By the way, Lori, this whole last 15 minutes or so of explanation was all being recorded, and I actually switched over to YM when you were talking about the YM chart. So
Dog coughing.
I guess I'll post today's recording, since there's some good stuff on it in the last 15 minutes. And I think whatever RTY trades that were taken today, which were, what was it? There was one RTY Lorex that was captured, and then I actually recorded the simplicity that I took as well. I didn't call it because, sorry, I was just kind of focusing on trading today, just kind of, you were, Lori. So, but I did take the simplicity at 1049.30.
I was really now that one YM that we actually both got into, that one was the only trade that I've seen. Well, there was the one Lorex that I missed right after, 9:36, I think it was. I like that one.
I
But
missed
other
that
than
one
that,
too.
that one was all I saw that I really liked. So it was just I was not loving the RTY one that ended. I think it ended up winning, but without me, because I bailed. I mean, it's just, if I think something's iffy, but I'm willing to take a chance on it, I'm not willing to take a bunch of people down with me if it loses. So I will, and that was the RTY one. Once I got in, then I don't mind talking about it. But the YM one, that you could have got in, and I hope some people did catch that one. It was a sweet one.
Yeah, I did take one other YM Lorex at like 10:09. 10:09:08 was the setup. I did get in that one. Basically broke even on the trailer because it retraced back and didn't give me a whole lot. So that one I don't have captured on screen. But so yeah, I had a total of 4 trades today. That interbar scalp on YM was just too good to pass up. That's why I took it. Otherwise, I would have been done with the 3.
There's a question on RTY 1123. That was the DTX, the double TX, off that ZOI, and it had 2 paws, and it laid a mini magnet and a paw right in that area. Not a bad setup. The take profit was before the bottom of the chop box in case it was going to bounce off it again. I didn't like it myself, but it was valid. I mean, and it did profit. I wasn't a fan.
John, that's for you. That's where I post all the videos.
So with all that, and it's afternoon, I am gonna just walk away from this crappy day. I'm a little bit in the green. I didn't meet any targets or anything, and that's okay. I don't care. If I wouldn't have taken the RTY, the YM would have been really good. But farther ahead, but oh well. It is what it is. It's trading. So there's news tomorrow morning before open, so be careful if you're trading pre-open. 8:30 is some big news. And we'll see you tomorrow morning.
See you, Lori. Yeah, I'm going to take off as well, guys. I'll get this video just to compile and everything, see if it'll get done before power hour, and then I'll get it posted, and then I'll be back at 3 p.m. Eastern for power hour. So I actually did meet my goals today, so I will not be trading live during power hour, but I will call out the trade of an intrabar scalp if I do see one. All right, so we will see you guys a little bit later. Have a good one.